from normal peons down to sub-peons. And there'll be one monetary system, one around the world, all controlled probably out of Brussels. And the Rothschilds keep their money in Switzerland so that nobody can ever find out what they really have.
And you notice that they've only been selectively taking the bank accounts of people with like $1 million. They're taking the low-level nobody's money out of these offshore corporations when it's admitted the Rockefellers have more than 10,000 shell corporations just in the Bahamas and the Caymans alone.
That's right. And but no one touches the Rothschilds or the Rockefellers' money. No one will report on it. It's suicide to really get into any details on Rockefellers and Rothschilds.
Well, it is suicide. I'm always reading about Rockefeller secretaries, Rockefeller CEOs. If somebody in an oil company doesn't do what they're told, they commit suicide, shotgun in the back of the head. Rockefeller company's CEO committed suicide. James McDonald shot himself in the head yesterday.
Probably in the back of the head. With a double-barrel shotgun.
Now, they do that when some criminality comes out to say, oh, he did it, he's dead. Or this guy may have taken a little something for himself.
Well, you never know. And you can't ever trust the news from the major news media. They lie. The elite own or control all news media except radio. Of course.
Yeah, a few handful of radio shows and internet, which Jay Rockefeller admits they want to shut down.
Oh, yeah. And eventually they'll try to control the internet. And the internet is one, and talk radio is our last sources of real facts about what's going on in the world. And they'll naturally have to shut all that down.
Yeah, the White House diversity czar at the FCC said we need to look at what Hugo Chavez has done with his media fairness.
Right.
And Chavez, I mean, I'm glad he defeated the expansion of North American Free Trade of Americas area. I'm glad he helped shoot down the free trade area of the Americas. But now they're creating a socialist model of that, and Chavez is shutting down free speech in Venezuela.
Well, yeah, but if you look at the net effect of Chavez, he has stopped the creation of the American Union single-handedly.
So you like Chavez?
Well, I like most of what he does because he's trying to get in the way of the creation of the global union, and he's been very successful in all of South America. And people wonder why he associates with Gaddafi and Ahmadinejad and some of the others. Well, hell, that's the only people out there available that'll talk to him, so why not?
Well, I mean, Gaddafi was the big boogeyman, but now he's a darling of the West. Right. So they do the same thing. Saddam's our buddy one day, he's evil the next. Bin Laden's a hero one day, next day he attacked us. So, I mean, certainly, I just really do see him clamping down on the media and free speech and trying to stay in power. And, I mean, I see him as another Fidel Castro. But I do like what he did to the free trade area of the Americas. I mean, he did help kill that.
Well, and he also set up the Bank of the South, which is the central bank of all of South America, owned by the South American nations, funded by Brazil, Argentina, and Venezuela. And they loan money to other nations of Latin America at very low interest rates so they can pay off their loans to the IMF and the World Bank.
Who charge 30% compounded.
That's right. But
let's finish up with Chavez, fractional reserve banking, the elite master plan, and then how to fix it from your perspective. Robert Gaylon Ross, author, researcher, is our guest in studio.
Do you understand how dark it is? How far down the line we are? How late it is?
I wish a buck was still silver. It was back when the country was strong.
But we have allowed private interests to take control of our banking system and our government. And they have looted and robbed us blind. They have set up a world government to take over other nations using our funds and capital. They have used our name and our flag as their banner of all of their evil actions. And now we're hated the world over. They put in this Hollywood president to try to fool people. Robert, Gaylon Ross, Barack Obama, give me your take on him, and then whether or not you think this is it. Are they really getting ready to kill the dollar? All these big announcements from top economists, how the dollar is going to die. We're going to be like Argentina, trying to destroy confidence, trying to drive us into accepting, the bankers will fix it if you just do what they say. They've got a global government, a global carbon tax. All the stuff we got laughed at for over the decades is now just all openly being announced.
Well, I've got a chapter on what I call elite spies within our government, and Obama is surrounded by members of the elite, just like every president since Wilson. All of his top advisors are members of the Bilderberg's Council on Foreign Relations Trilateral Commission. So nothing's really going to change in the creation of the New World Order or the Global Union. And he's certainly a very articulate intelligent person, but I don't think you ever get into that position unless you sell your soul to Lucifer.
And it's so simple, and people get caught up. And in 4 years, when they put a Republican in, we're going to have to argue with these idiots that, hey, this is another puppet. What's your take on what's developing with the dollar from your research?
Well, I've got a graph in my book that shows the effects of money supply, and for the last 30, 40 years, it's been fairly flat, the M3 money supply. And in the last year, it's going up something like 200%. And so when the money supply goes up, that means that we're into hyperinflation. We'll be like Zimbabwe and Argentina. Zimbabwe, you have to take a wheelbarrow full of money to the grocery store to buy a loaf of bread. We're going to end up in that same road. Right now, our largest paper dollar, our paper bill, is a $100 bill. Within 2 or 3 years, it could be a $10,000 bill. That's what happened to Argentina and to Zimbabwe.
And the establishment knows all of this is going to be rolled out in phases. That's why they openly admit Northcom and Homeland Security and the Patriot Act is for the anti-Federal Reserve protesters, for the veterans, for the gun owners. And so, again, they built this thing in the name of fighting al-Qaeda, but the whole time it was meant for us because they know we're not going to like becoming third world slaves.
Yeah, I saw a piece on my computer a couple of weeks ago about a British general that the reporter asked him, how many al-Qaeda have y'all killed? He says, 0. He says, how many al-Qaeda are trying to put us under? And he says, 0. There is no such thing as al-Qaeda. That's a term that they invented to create something to fight. Now, there are Taliban and
by the way, the Pentagon admits that. They say it was the name of the computer program in '79 to recruit and name all the mujahideen working for the CIA.
Right. And we created all that problem in Afghanistan to try to run the Russians out. And then when we finally got the Russians out, then these people turned on us.
There's been a 13-fold now, it grows, of any record of opium production. Heroin is everywhere now. And the BBC just admits, well, the U.S. and the British, we have to guard the opium or the Taliban will get it. The Taliban is there guarding it. We're shipping it out. Was it over oil or was it more over opium?
It was over 2 reasons. Afghanistan for 2 reasons. Number one, they needed to create a 48-inch gas pipeline and oil pipeline from the Caspian Sea area down to a saltwater port south and also into China. And these had to go through Afghanistan. And the Taliban would not permit it. And then the second reason is 90% of the opium in the world is created there in Afghanistan. And the Taliban, it's against their religion for their own people to consume it. And so the production of poppies was outlawed by the Taliban and was headed to zero about the time we invaded Afghanistan. And from there on, it went back up to normal production.
But just to be driving in my car, listening to XM a few months ago, I already knew all this, but to hear him admit it, BBC spun it like, well, U.S. and British forces guard the poppies, and production has gone up, because if we don't let the farmers grow it, the Taliban will take back control and they will sell it. And that's always the rationale. That's how the CIA got involved in narcotics when it was OSS. Well, if we don't, the Nazis will do it. And no, the truth is it's just the mafia.
That's right. The Taliban is actually a mafia within Afghanistan. And they go around and control the farmers, and everything they do is controlled by the Taliban.